Welcome to the 2024 National Civics Bee National Championship. It is with great honor that we welcome to the Great Hall the Quantico Marine Band Brass Quintet. Please stand and welcome Corporal Moreno in a reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please rise for the singing of the National Anthem, performed today by D.C. Washington.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ringing, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please welcome to the stage the President and Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Clark.
Well, this is a great morning. Good morning, everyone. Now, I realized that yesterday at breakfast, I was so excited to meet you all that I walked around and introduced myself, but I don't think I said what I did. So I run this place. That's my job. Yeah. I was just like, I'm Suzanne. Who are you? And hearing where you were from. And I told someone last night I felt like a witch trying to steal your energy and optimism and smarts. So I'm hoping I'm a little smarter and more optimistic today. All right, who's ready to have a really good time today? I'm sorry that I have my back to you fine people, but I really only care about these people in the moment. So as part of my job, I get to speak to people all the time. We've had 26 heads of state in this building this year, people running governments all over the world. Vice President Harris was on this stage a couple of months ago. In our 112-year history, we've had presidents and kings and queens and CEOs. I don't know if I've ever been more excited about a group or an event as I am today, because you are the future. And I know, because I've been in your chair, that when you're competing for something, it's really nerve-wracking, and you probably wish that we would get rid of all the pomp and circumstance and just get on with it. And we will, I promise. They're nodding. They're like, yes, please. And we will. And I know that adults say, God bless you, stupid things like, you've already won, except you already have. You've made your school proud, you've made your family proud, you've made yourselves proud, and you've proven, and you've proven to people like me what great leaders you are. You will, as adults, apply for college and put this on your application. You will apply for jobs and put this on your resume. And people like me will be so impressed that you volunteered to spend your time learning and competing. You've already won because you're stronger and better and harder working and more dedicated, and we can all see that. So when people say you've already won, it's not some weird participation trophy thing. It's you've already won because we can see who you are. You've elevated yourself among your peers already. All right. So I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, and all I could think of were really boring adult things. So I went to Georgetown University twice, undergrad and grad school. And I did my first degree at night because I worked at another trade association to pay for college. And so I worked really hard and really long, and it took me a long time to get that first degree. But what I studied was something called liberal studies, liberal arts, which is really about, I wrote it down, the study of a political and social philosophy that promotes individual rights, civil liberties, democracy, and free enterprise. So boy, did I end up in the right job, right? This is what I studied, and this is what I do. I defend our government. I defend the free enterprise system. I believe deeply in what business does for families and workers and communities in our country, and I get to stand up here and defend it every day. But it means that when I was a student, I spent a lot of time poring over our founding documents and really trying to understand them. And it led to this core belief system that still drives me to this day. So I thought, that's what I should do. I should talk about the Federalist Papers. And my 18-year-old daughter said, oh God, Mom, please don't bore those kids. They've had enough. Do not talk about that. So I said, all right, let's play a game. Now, you have to compete enough today. So the people in the first 3 rows over here don't really have to play, but the rest of you do. You can play along in your head, all right? 2 truths and a lie. I'm going to say 3 sentences, only 2 of them are true, and you're going to vote and tell me if you can get the right one. You'll vote at the end, don't vote yet. Statement number 1, the most important place in America is your community. Statement number 2. In America, a plumber can touch lives just as easily as the president. Statement number 3. When working to solve problems, we must overcome those who disagree with our ideas. So which one is the lie? Who thinks this one's the lie? The most important place in America is your community. Not one. Who believes this is the lie? In America, a plumber can touch lives as easily as the president. Couple. Who believes this is the lie? When working to solve problems, we must overcome those who disagree with our ideas. All right. Now, if this were the competition, you all would have won. That is the lie. If you thought the most important place in America is your community was the lie, I understand why. You're humble. And because, how could everybody's community be the most important? But that one's actually true. Our founders gave us a system that places great importance on local communities and a belief system that says we have an obligation to take care of our neighborhoods. So our communities are the most important. I will tell you, it's all the local chambers of commerce that built this chamber, that built this building to be the home for business. So local is in our DNA. If everybody took an interest in civics the way you did in your community, the country would be a better place. All right, statement number 2. In America, a plumber can touch lives just as easily as the president. If you thought that was the lie, it's probably for a good reason, because the president can impact more lives. But a plumber can impact lives just as easily. That's true of any job. Today, the biggest misunderstanding about civics is that it's politics by any other name. But civics isn't something that happens once every 4 years when we pick a president. It's what happens all the days in between. The American free market economy allows all of us to contribute to communities in our own ways, to do things our neighbors need. And on top of doing jobs, that plumber, he can volunteer, she can help others, and they can be kind. They can touch lives every day. So statement number 3 is the lie. When working to solve problems, we must overcome those who disagree with us. If you take away only one thing from today, let it be this. America needs people who disagree. America needs people who will debate to get to a better solution. Solving problems is not a zero-sum game where one answer is right and somebody's completely wrong. It's more like a puzzle where everybody has to bring their piece so that we can get to a whole picture. These are teammates, these are partners, these are our neighbors. So, this is what today's all about, not just sharing your ideas, but hearing everybody else's. We are so inspired by you. You make us want to be better. You make the adults in this room want to be smarter and better, not just about civics, but about raising our hands to volunteer. Your generation, I think, is better than mine at this truth. You care deeply about your communities and your neighborhoods, and you work collaboratively with each other. This country, this great country of ours, it's counting on you. It's counting on you to bring your smarts and your integrity and your passion and your joy and your critical thinking and the stuff you don't agree with and the stuff you want to debate. This country desperately needs your skills. So thank you for your interest in civics. Thank you for inspiring us. I hope you have a lot of fun today. And to my fellow adults in attendance, I hope we, together, learn a lot from these great future leaders. So thank you, good luck, and once again, congratulations.
Welcome to the National Civics Bee
National Civics Bee
The National Civics Bee National Championship.
To me, civics means taking actions to make your society a better place for all.
Civics is community.
Civics is opportunity.
Civics is educational and engaging.
Civics is helpful and empowering.
Civics is truly eye-opening.
Civics is the study of historical events and the rights and obligations of citizens. But to me, civics is more than that.
Civics is the backbone of our democracy.
Civics is empowering.
Civics is invigorating.
Civics means the study of people.
Civics is all about community.
Civics means advocating for yourself and others.
Civics is undervalued, yet essential.
Civics is really important.
Civics is being knowledgeable and involved in your government.
Civics is the study of citizenship.
Civics is a building block to our neighborhoods, communities, cities, and even the United States.
Civics is incredibly important to me.
Civics is essential.
Civics is approaching adversity.
Civics means community well-being.
Civics is the rights and responsibilities of a citizen.
Civics is an art form.
Civics is public-minded.
Civics are citizens' responsibility.
Civics is our future.
Please welcome to the stage our MC for the day, Mark Summers.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Very exciting day. Welcome to the 2024 National Civics Bee Championship, hosted by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. My name is Mark Summers, and if you're a kid, you probably have no idea who I am, but parents, remember back in the days when we used to take the physical challenge over on Double Dare? But today we're going to take a mental challenge, let me tell you, and I'm excited and honored to serve as your MC for the first annual National Civics Bee Championship. Now, whether you're joining us virtually or with us here in person in our nation's capital, thank you all very much for coming. We are thrilled to have you cheer on our 27 incredible finalists. Now, America does have a bright future, and the students you're about to meet are the proof. So before we get going, there are some people we really want to thank. First, the parents and teachers who have supported our finalists and helped them get to Washington, D.C. today. Give them a round of applause. We do appreciate your support for all these kids, and a thanks and a congratulations to our finalists. These 27 civics superstars have come from all across the country to represent their state at the national level. And trust me, they have done a lot of work to get here. They picked one of the most urgent issues in their community. They wrote about how civics can help deal with those issues, and they shared their solutions with panels of local and state judges. And if that's not enough, they answered some pretty tough quiz questions, too. I saw some of them. I answered like one, so they're bright. These kids are amazing, so let's give them all a well-deserved round of applause that rings as loudly and proudly as the Liberty Bell. And now it's my honor to officially kick off the 2024 National Civics Bee Championship. I want you all to get to meet these amazing finalists. The students, please come up to the microphone and tell everybody your name and the state you represent. And audience members, please hold your applause until the end.
Hello everyone, my name is Emily Brubaker and I am representing the state of Alaska.
Hi, I'm Aiden representing Arizona.
Hi, I'm Joa Smith. I'm representing Arkansas.
Hi, I'm Joseph Drexler, and I'm representing Colorado.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fizan Sayal, and I'm representing the state of Connecticut.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Obalu, and I'm representing the state of Georgia.
Hello, everyone.
everyone. My name is Ellie Foss, and I'm representing the state of Indiana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael O'Mara, and I'm representing the great state of Iowa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rashawn Panchal, and I'm representing Kansas.
I'm Ava Jean Tackett, representing Kentucky.
Hi, my name is Gianna, and I'm representing the state of Maryland.
Hi, my name is Evan Jun, and I'm representing the state of Michigan.
Hello, my name is Lucy Laney, and I'm representing the state of Mississippi.
Hello, I'm Aria Tursic, and I'm representing the state of Montana.
Hi, my name is Keith Lee, and I'm representing New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Brody Stewart, and I'm representing New York.
Hi, I'm Arid Cole. I'm representing the state of Ohio. Good luck to everyone.
My name is Colin Perez, and I'm representing Oklahoma.
My name is Thomas Morgan. I'm representing the great state of Oregon.
My name is Maria Hoja, and I'm representing the state of Pennsylvania.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Ensminger, and I'm representing the state of Tennessee.
Hi, my name is Tashmi Wazwa, and I'm representing Texas.
Hello, my name is Zoe Downer, and I'm representing Virginia.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ilyani Gonzalez, and I'm thrilled to be representing the state of Washington.
I'm Raya Musavi, and I'm representing Wisconsin.
Good morning, guys. I'm Summer Hodge, and I'm representing the state of West Virginia.
Hi there, I'm Joel Cox, and I'm from Wyoming.
There are the other 27 finalists. You know, when I was sort of wandering around when they were having lunch yesterday, I was sort of eavesdropping on conversations because I knew these kids were sort of smarter than the average bear. And I believe it was this gentleman over here, Colin, who was talking to a young lady and said, what do you mean you don't know who Nat King Cole is? Was that you who were talking about? That's what he was saying. It's like, how do they even know who Nat King? Your parents weren't even around when Nat King Cole was around. So, anyway, 2024 National Civics Bee Championship finalists, and now let me tell you how the competition works and what each of these students has to do to try to win the competition today. There are 4 rounds of competition. Each round will test them on 3 key metrics: civics knowledge, skills, and disposition. Now, yesterday, our finalists had an action-packed day going all around D.C., and they got to visit the incredible World War II Memorial, and they got to meet some very brave people who fought for our country. They were veterans from World War II and the Vietnam and Korean Wars. And these folks came all the way here on an honor flight from Arizona. That's pretty darn cool, don't you think? Give them a round of applause. Our finalists also started on round 1 of the competition, the Team Challenge. All the students were divided into teams with an issue randomly assigned to each team. Then they had to talk through their issue and think about a civics-minded solution. Now, some of the issues they tackled were entry-level skills and job training, access to nutritional foods, youth mental health, and homelessness. They came up with solutions that used founding principles and civic virtues, and they talked about how to use partners such as elected officials, businesses, and other organizations to help make their solutions a reality. Pretty impressive. So while the teams were hard at work, a group of judges evaluated them on their civic disposition. In other words, how well they did use the attitudes, habits, and behaviors you need to take part in a democratic society. And of course, teamwork counts too, so they got points for how well they all worked together as teams. Each team then presented their issue and their solutions to a panel of judges, and when they were done, the panel asked them follow-up questions. Then the finalists got points based on their answers. The judges totaled all the points for each team, and each of our finalists on the top two teams received $500. Huge congratulations to them, but before we get started, because we have 3 great rounds ready to go, and anyone on the stage could win the big prize. So remember, we're looking for someone who really shines in all areas of civics. So in each round, the points you will get will be added to your total score, and we'll be looking at these total scores to decide who will make it to the next round, and in the end, who is going to be our grand winner. Okay, we're ready for round 2, the quiz round. That's where all of our finalists get a chance to answer 20 multiple choice quiz questions. We will then add up their points from rounds 1 and 2, and then we'll use those total scores to narrow this field of 27 down to just 10. All right, you guys ready to start? Let's do it. Let's jump into round 2. Here's the quiz round. Our finalists will have to answer the questions about pivotal moments and ideas in American history, from landmark Supreme Court decisions to the core principles of our founding documents. At the end of 20 questions, we're going to add up the scores from the team challenge and the quiz round, and the 10 finalists with the highest cumulative scores will get to move on. All right, now, finalists, here's how it works. You all have to answer the same 20 questions. Every question and answer option is going to be read aloud by me. When I finish reading all of them, you then have only 20 seconds to answer. Each correct answer is going to get 1 point. Incorrect answers and answers not submitted in time, 0 points. So you won't lose points for an incorrect response, so we do encourage you to take your best guess and answer each and every question. Please note, once you've picked an answer to the question, that answer is final. You cannot change it. Also, I know everybody here will participate with integrity, so remember, keep your eyes on your own tablets, and don't forget that points from yesterday's round will be added to the overall score from this round. And remember, the top 10 finalists with the highest cumulative scores are going to advance to round 3. Those of you who don't advance will join your families in the audience, and I almost forgot to tell you, the questions will get harder and harder as we go on, so please pay close attention. Here are a few last things. Audience members and viewers at home, you can play along with the student finalists and increase your civic knowledge. So please enter the URL slideswith.com/NCB24 included on the audience join slide into your personal devices, and please use your real name, not your username. And if you're here in the crowd, you also are eligible for a prize. We actually have a couple. The audience member with the most correct answers is going to get a gift card. All right, I think we're ready to go. Students, during this quiz round, if you have technical issues or anything goes wrong, raise your hands right away so we can come over and help you out. Everybody ready to get started? I hope you are, because this is not going to be easy. Let's begin round 2. Question number 1. Which Supreme Court case ruled that individuals have a constitutional right to legal representation even if they cannot afford an attorney? Is it A, Miranda versus Arizona, 1966? Is it B, Gideon versus Wainwright, 1963? Is it C, Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896? Or is it D, McCullough versus Maryland, 1819? You have 20 seconds, go. don't need 20 seconds. They answer pretty darn quick. The correct answer is B, Gideon versus Wainwright, 1963. Question 2. Which of the following founding principles sits at the heart of the preamble of the Declaration of Independence? Is it A, natural rights? Is it B, checks and balances? C, bicameral legislature? Or D, the rule of law? 20 seconds and go. Then C is bicameral legislature, but I did unwrap so long I said bicameral. The correct answer is A, natural rights. That is the correct answer. We're moving to question number 3. The Federalists opposed adding a Bill of Rights to the Constitution. Which of the following was not a reason they opposed it? Is it A, state constitutions already included bills of rights? Is it B, the Constitution included sufficient safeguards of individual liberties? Is it C, the United States government would only be run by virtuous citizens and therefore a Bill of Rights was not necessary? Or is it D, listing out some rights could imply that any rights not listed did not exist? Good luck. The correct answer is C, the United States government would only be run by virtuous citizens and therefore a Bill of Rights was not necessary. Moving on to question 4. What famous early 19th century book did the quote come from? There is no class then in America. America then exhibits in her social state an extraordinary phenomenon. Men are there seen on a greater equality in point of fortune and intellect, or in other words, more equal in their strength than in any other country of the world, or in any age of which history has preserved the remembrance. Is it A, Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville? Is it B, Second Treatise of Government by John Locke? Is it C, Federalist number 84 by Alexander Hamilton? Or is it D, Summary View of the Rights of British America by Thomas Jefferson? 20 seconds and go. The correct answer is A, Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville. Moving on to question number 5. Which of the following is most clearly outside of Congress's power as delegated by the Constitution? Is it A, declaring war after the nation is attacked? B, passing a tax increase to reduce the nation's deficit? Or is it C, regulating commerce that stays within a single state? Or is it D, passing a law to further regulate the post office? Go. The correct answer is C, regulating commerce that stays within a single state. Question number 6. If the federal government prosecutes a company for using unfair methods of keeping competitors out of the market, which of the following laws would it be enforcing? Is it A, the USA Patriot Act? Is it B, the Sherman Antitrust Act? Is it C, the Civil Rights Act of 1964? Or is it D, the Taft-Hartley Act? 20 seconds. The correct answer is B, the Sherman Antitrust Act. Question 7. How did the Constitution address the significant weakness of the Articles of Confederation? Is it A, it allowed states to decide whether to enforce federal laws? Or is it B, it gave Congress the power to enforce laws through state militias? Or is it C, it established an executive to enforce federal laws? Or is it D, it required unanimous consent from states to implement federal laws? Go. The correct answer is C, it established an executive to enforce federal laws. We are now at question 8. Which of the following laws best demonstrates the legislative branch checking the executive branch within our system of government? Is it A, the War Powers Resolution of 1973, or B, the Homestead Act of 1862, or C, the Social Security Act of 1935, or is it D, the Voting Rights Act of 1965? Go. The correct answer is A, the War Powers Resolution of 1973. We are moving on to question 9 now. Which of the following demonstrates the 12th Amendment at work in a presidential election? Is it A, term limits prevented George Washington from running for president a third time in the election of 1800? Or is it B, no candidate won a majority of electoral votes, so the House of Representatives selected the president in the election of 1824? C is the vote counting was too close to call, so the Supreme Court selected the winner in the election of 2000? Or is it D, Rutherford B. Hayes won a majority of electoral votes, but because he did not have a majority in popular votes, he did not win the election of 1876? You have 20 seconds. The correct answer is B, no candidate won a majority of electoral votes, so the House of Representatives selected the president in the election of 1824. Question 10. Which scenario best illustrates James Madison's argument in Federalist number 10? Let me repeat that. Which scenario best illustrates James Madison's argument in Federalist number 10 for the importance of a large republic? Is it A, a group of citizens are attempting to violate the rights of another group, but they are a small group and therefore cannot become a majority, preventing them from oppressing others? Or is it B, a foreign country decides not to attack the United States because it's so big? Or is it C, the United States is able to command respect in the United Nations organization because of its large territory holdings? Or is it D, Congress is facing a budget deficit but can easily raise more money with a slight tax increase because of the large population? Good luck. The correct answer is A, a group of citizens are attempting to violate the rights of another group, but they are a small group and therefore cannot become a majority, preventing them from oppressing others. Okay, we're halfway through the second round and we have got 10 more questions to go. My brain is tired just from asking these questions, so I can only imagine how the finalists feel. But keep in mind, we're adding up total points from both rounds, 1 and 2, to see who advances, and we've got 10 more questions for you to answer. So let's get started. This is question 11. Since 1983, the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, which was created to study the unique problems of American Indians, Native Hawaiians, and Alaskan Natives, and to propose legislation to alleviate these difficulties, is an example of what? Is it A, a closed meeting of congressional leaders? Is it B, a joint committee? Is it C, a special committee? Or is it D, a standing committee? 20 seconds. The correct answer is C, a special committee. Moving on to question 12. Federalist number 62 argues in favor of equal representation of large and small states in the Senate. How does Publius argue this arrangement will support the federal structure of the Constitution? Is it A, it makes sure that the interests of all states have an equal voice, regardless of size? Or is it B, it helps the Senate make decisions faster by reducing the effects of state population differences? Or is it C, it allows larger states to balance out the power of the president in the government? Or is it D, it shows that each citizen has equal power when voting for their senators? Go. The correct answer, it makes sure that the interests of all states have an equal voice regardless of size. It was A. Question 13. In the Supreme Court case Texas versus Johnson in 1989, the majority ruled that flag burning is protected symbolic speech. What was a key argument presented in the dissenting opinions? Is it A, the dissent emphasized that protecting flag burning would lead to a slippery slope of disrespect towards all national symbols and undermine the rule of law? B, the dissent maintained that all forms of protest, including flag burning, should be restricted to maintain public order and prevent unrest. C, the dissent believed that symbolic speech should only be protected if it does not provoke strong emotional responses from the public. And D is the dissent argued that the flag represents the values and sacrifices of the nation, and actions like burning it undermine national unity and respect for democracy. Go. The correct answer is D. The dissent argued that the flag represents the values and sacrifices of the nation, and actions like burning it undermine national unity and respect for democracy. Moving on to question 14. In Common Sense, Thomas Paine argued for American independence from Britain. What was his key argument in favor of the colonies breaking away from British rule? A, he claimed that the colonies' religious and cultural values were at odds with those of Britain, making independence necessary. B, he believed that Britain's military presence in the colonies threatened the peace and security of American society. C, he believed that having a king was absurd and useless, and that the colonies could govern themselves better without one. D, he suggested that the colonies would gain immediate military support from other nations if they declared independence from Britain. 20 seconds. The correct answer is C. He believed that having a king was absurd and useless, and that the colonies could govern themselves better without one. Question 15. How does serving on a jury fulfill a citizen's responsibility and contribute to the justice system in the United States? A, it allows citizens to express their opinions about laws and suggest changes to the legal system based on their experiences. Or is it B, it ensures that legal decisions are made by a group of peers, which helps protect individual rights and upholds the principle of fairness in trials? Or is it C, it gives citizens the power to determine the punishment for crimes, thereby making them directly responsible for maintaining law and order in their community? Or is it D, it requires citizens to educate themselves about all laws so they can better know their rights and responsibilities? Go. We hope you said B, it ensures that legal decisions are made by a group of peers, which helps protect individual rights and upholds the principle of fairness in trials. Question 16, what was the primary goal of President Lyndon Johnson's proclamation of 11246, and how did it aim to influence opportunities in the workplace? A, to establish a national holiday for workers, encouraging businesses to recognize the contributions of all employees? Or is it B, to promote equal employment opportunities by requiring federal contractors to use non-discriminatory hiring practices for those they employ? Or is it C, to create a new federal agency that would oversee the hiring practices of all private companies in the U.S.? Or is it D, to mandate that all employers provide paid leave for workers, ensuring fair treatment for employees regardless of their background? Good luck. Correct answer is B, to promote equal employment opportunities by requiring federal contractors to use non-discriminatory hiring practices for those they employ. Moving on to question 17 now. What is the primary function of the necessary and proper clause, also known as the elastic clause, in the U.S. Constitution? A, it grants Congress the power to regulate interstate commerce. B, it allows Congress to make laws required to carry out its enumerated powers. C, it prevents the executive branch from exceeding its authority. Or is it D, it limits the powers of state government in relation to federal laws? Go. If you said B, you are correct. It allows Congress to make laws required to carry out its enumerated powers. Coming down the home stretch here, folks, question 18. How did the Northwest Ordinance and Missouri Compromise compare on slavery? Is it A, both made slavery illegal in certain areas of the nation? Or is it B, both permitted slavery without restrictions until a certain year? Is it C, neither mentioned slavery in the legislation? Or is it D, the Northwest Ordinance allowed slavery while the Missouri Compromise made slavery illegal? You have 20 seconds. The correct answer is A, both made slavery illegal in certain areas of the nation. Question 19. According to Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution, the Senate is tasked with selecting A, ambassadors, B, cabinet secretaries, C, a president pro tem, or D, Supreme Court justices. Good luck. The correct answer is C, a president pro tem. Here is our final question. Which of the following is not a delegated power of Congress? Is it A, passing federal laws, B, impeaching and removing the president from office, C, creating lower federal courts, or is it D, negotiating and making treaties? Go. The correct answer is D, negotiating and making treaties. That completes the end of round 2, and yes, great job to all of you. Those were some very tough questions, and right now we're going to take a short break to tabulate the scores, and we'll be back here in just about 10 minutes, so stay tuned, take a look, and we'll see you shortly. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Now be honest with me, raise your hand. How many people could answer any of those questions? Can any of, oh, a lot of smart people here. That's fantastic. Well, your kids are smart, so that makes perfect sense. Can we have a round of applause for all 27 contestants you got up here? Very impressed. All right, here are our final 10 in no particular order. First on stage, from Tennessee, Charlotte. Join us. Next, from Washington, Ileani. From Pennsylvania, Mariah. From Texas, Tashvi. From Alaska, Emily. From Arkansas, Joa. From Arizona, Aiden. From Iowa, Michael. From Virginia, Zoe. And from New Mexico, Keith. All right, those are our top 10 finalists who are going to be competing in the next round here. We're going to kick off round 3 with our top 10, and these top 10 finalists are ready to take the spotlight. Now, they will be given 3-minute pitches on the pressing issues they addressed in their entry essays, sharing their innovative ideas for changing the world. Then they'll face off in a lively Q&A with our judges, so get ready to be inspired. As a reminder, the essay prompt was identify a problem facing your community. How might a citizen solve the problem? And points for this round will be based on the average the judges' scores, which will be added to the overall scores, and the top 5 students are going to advance to our final round. Now, let's meet our distinguished panel of judges. They have carefully reviewed the finalists' essays and are ready with questions for these top contenders. So please welcome Emma Bloomberg, founder and CEO of Murmuration. Secretary R. James Nicholson, former U.S. Secretary of Veterans Affairs and former U.S. Ambassador to the Vatican. Allison Matthews, Head of Education at Minecraft. Secretary Rodney E. Slater, Chair and President, the National Archives Foundation. And Elaine Buxton, President and CEO, Confero, winner of the 2024 America's Top Small Business Award. Thank you, judges, for being here. And best of luck as you determine who is going to be moving forward. So let's get started. Finalists, keep an eye on the countdown clock. Remember, you have exactly 3 minutes. And when I announce that the time is up, you are done. After each presentation, 3 of our judges will each have a question, and you will have 1 minute per question to respond. I will let you know when time runs out. So our judges will evaluate each contestant based on their understanding of civic principles and systems, the clarity and effectiveness of their delivery and responses, and how well they use specific examples, evidence, and primary sources to support their answers. The finalists will be called in order of their current standing, starting with 10th place and moving to first. So let's kick this thing off right now. In 10th place, coming up, will be Charlotte from Tennessee.
In September 2019, residents of my hometown of Kingsport, Tennessee, visited their public parks, and they noticed something a little bit different. Our city officials had decided to place down wooden block dividers on many of our public park benches, and this was to prevent our homeless population from sleeping on them. Now, last year, when my teacher, Ms. Hensley, shared this with our class, many of us were shocked. We were wondering how our city could do something that we saw as so unnecessarily cruel. So, feeling very passionate about this issue, I decided In my essay, I advocated for increasing shelter capacity, which I believed would attack the problem at its source instead of its symptom. I didn't want a Band-Aid solution. But in an effort to challenge my biases and increase my understanding, I decided to meet with several city officials and homeless advocates on both sides of the issue. I even met with our city manager, who decided to install the blocks. And what I found was really interesting. Both sides cared deeply about the homeless, both sides wanted to promote public safety, and both sides wanted to focus on long-term solutions. Originally, I shared with these officials an idea about coordinating churches to increase shelter capacity. But I soon realized that shelter capacity wasn't even the main problem. Our city already has the food and shelter to support our estimated 172 homeless individuals. The real problem is a duplication of those services and a shortage in others, like mental health care and transitional housing. So after educating myself further, my idea evolved into an IT project, basically a web application where nonprofits, churches, and organizations can showcase all the services that they offer for our homeless population in one place. My church, for example, offers an addiction recovery program, but not many people know about it. This service would help homeless advocates get the service out to those that need it. At a community level, we would use the resource to find duplicates that we need to eradicate and gaps in services that we need to fill. We would also use it to track individual progress and make sure that everyone is on the right path out of homelessness. We could also use it to weed out abuse, where one person is receiving the same service from multiple organizations. The result is a more streamlined and effective solution that helps the most people with their individual needs. From this experience, I've learned that the civic virtue of respect leads to better solutions, even including viewpoints that we disagree with. I've also learned that the civic principle of one's right to pursue happiness is made possible when a community works together to service each other.
Okay, your time is up. Let's get our first question from the judge.
Charlotte, what role could businesses possibly play in your solution, and how might a public-private partnership be beneficial?
So that's a really good question. I actually have two main ways that I think businesses can help. So I talked to a web development company to kind of see where this would go, and they estimated that it would be $2,400 to $4,000 to create a beta version. And so the most simple way that businesses can help is by donating to that fund. But they can also help by using the service and using it to figure out where best to put their donations and make services for our homeless populations.
Okay, second judge.
Charlotte, clearly these kinds of efforts require some resources. Let's suppose you were granted $5,000. how would you allocate those funds as far as implementing the solution that you brought to our attention today?
So as I mentioned, the estimate would be $2,400 to $4,000 to get a beta version. That would include a database, a back-end interface, a front-end design, and basic testing for the program. Any extra money that we would have after that would be used in outreach, because the service is no use if no one uses it. So we could even use it to create educational tutorials to show businesses how to utilize the application.
Third judge.
Sorry about that. You talked a lot about the various community-based organizations that you have already been talking to, and I'm wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about which levels and which specific officials in government need to be involved over time to make sure that this continues to work.
Yes, so I met with our city manager and our homeless liaison, and what I learned from our homeless liaison is that in our city we have a homeless coalition that bridges the communication gap between our homeless population and our city officials. And what they can help us do is get the community to show their services on the app and build the infrastructure that we need to get this project going.
So you are done. I want to ask you a question. How old are you, Charlotte?
14.
14, okay. I was still trying to tie my shoes at 14. This young lady is so articulate. I mean, give her a round of applause. I was blown away by that. Wow. These kids are amazing. Coming up next from Washington is Ileani. All right, your 3 minutes starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished judges, you might be wondering why I've chosen such a topic to discuss before you today. Gun violence, an issue so divisive, its name alone raises eyebrows. After all, it's easy to turn away, believing this won't happen to us, yet the truth remains that the unfettered accessibility to military-grade weapons has reduced our school days to an ever-present threat for kids like myself, or even yours. Nevertheless, a highly polarized debate rages on due to our interpretation of the Second Amendment, which has become nothing short of a battleground. In 1994, Senator Feinstein championed an assault weapons ban, which reduced mass shootings by a whopping 40%. But following the 10-year sunset, this skyrocketed by over double. Furthermore, Federalist number 37 emphasized that changing circumstances impact constitutional interpretation, which highlighted the need to respect the fundamental right to bear arms, while also considering the evolving context when it jeopardizes the unalienable right to life. It's time we recognize the indisputable truth. From Sandy Hook to Robb Elementary to Uvalde, assault weapons have no place in our communities. To address this, I'm developing a 3-step process for the ban on large capacity magazines. First, education is our cornerstone. Through a partnership with the Brady Institute, I have started a chapter promoting awareness within my school. Next, we'll urge our leaders to support effective regulations, as data from the CDC shows that firearm-related violence is now the leading cause of death in children. Finally, we'll promote nationwide accessibility to the Say Something anonymous reporting system, creating an environment where speaking up saves lives. Every bullet fired represents a life irrevocably changed. It's not just a statistic, because we cannot forget that behind every number is a human story. A laughter silenced, a family fractured, a future cut short. Turning a blind eye to these tragedies, it's not who we are. And it's why it's time to bridge divides, to answer this call to arms, and unite our voices above the sound of gunfire. Or as we like to say, this time, it's our turn to take aim. Thank you.
All right, let's go to our first judge question, please.
Yes. Ileana, you mentioned the Brady Institute. Are there other nonprofit organizations or community groups that you could engage? Clearly, I know you've got to focus on the youth, but other organizations that you might consider.
Yes, in addition to this, I'm also looking into community groups like Rotary Clubs, which would create a network of support that will amplify our reach and impact. Furthermore, I've also been looking into pitching this initiative to the Paul G. Allen Foundation's Mobilizing Young Leaders Across Washington State program, which supports projects in my home state that build youth leadership and will provide the financial resources to reach as many people as possible. Because I believe that while change can begin with a single voice, it does not happen in isolation and is built on the foundation of every action we take, no matter how small. Thank you.
Second judge question, please.
You talked about urging leaders to affect change. Can you say a little bit more about how you would work with government on this issue?
Yes, for instance, I have already spoken to my local mayor, Mayor Patansu, with whom I collaborated on how to further expand my outreach across our city. Next, at the local level, I'll also be reaching out to city council members and the police department to ensure that the safety measures included in the Say Something Anonymous system are effectively implemented. Then at the state level, I'll be working closely with officials such as the Superintendent of Public Instruction, as well as members of our education and public safety committees, whose involvement will be vital in integrating civic and gun violence awareness into the curriculum. Thank you.
And our third judge.
Would you expand on how you might envision getting the business community more involved in this problem and in this solution?
Yes, thank you for asking, Judge. Local businesses can be a driving force behind my mission to prevent gun violence, not only in a financial sense, but by getting the word out and fostering a sense of civic engagement. It's important to remember that a safer community is a thriving community, and businesses, they have a stake in that prosperity. For instance, local retailers dealing with the ripple effects of crime could pitch in by providing flyers and venues for educational workshops, while media outlets could promote the Say Something anonymous reporting system through their channels, empowering individuals, including kids, to turn knowledge into action. Or as the old saying goes, while it might take a village to raise a child, let's keep in mind it takes an entire community, businesses included, to safeguard that village.
And your time is up. Round of applause for Ileana. Thank you so much. You can just put the mic back and we'll move on to our next person. We did 3 judges, yeah.
I yield the floor.
So far, I'd vote for either one of these ladies for president. I got to tell you, they're amazing. We are going to bring up from Pennsylvania, Mariah. Anytime you want to start.
3,500. That is the number of species supported by the Great Lakes. These lakes are bustling with life and create optimal conditions for the growth and development of our planet. However, today's reality is nowhere close to what we may imagine. In the past 50 years, Lake Erie has been seeing an increase of harmful algal blooms. Harmful algal blooms, also known as HABs, are an overgrowth of algae that produce dangerous toxins. They thrive in conditions of sunlight, slow-moving water, and an excess of nutrients. As microscopic as the cyanobacteria is, under the right conditions, HABs lead to dangerous toxins being released, such as anatoxin, saxitoxin, and microcystin. These toxins lead to dangerous diseases in liver cancer, poisoning, paralysis, and seizures. However, animals and young children experience even deadlier symptoms when they consume infested waters. With 12 million people receiving water from Lake Erie, the most efficient yet simple solutions must be implemented. I am proposing a 3-step plan in which the government takes action, collaborates with other organizations, and provides funding for new technologies. Firstly, more government regulations for the use of fertilizer near bodies of water and regulated water quality checks need to be implemented. Our state and federal governments should support scientific research by providing grants and collaborating with other organizations, bringing me to my second point. Companies and businesses such as the Clean Water Fund, the Nature Conservancy, the National Resources Defense Council, and the Clean Water Action have already begun to take action alongside many academic institutions. So if there are already so many resources for battling HABs, what is the issue? The third and final piece of this plan is more funding for new technologies. Funding from federal, state, research, and project grants could allow new institutions to research the use of algal ultrasound technology. This innovative technology would create a sound layer at the top of the water and cause the buoyancy of the algae to be reduced. This would cause the algae to sink and die off naturally. All of these ideas can be supported by federal acts such as the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement, the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act. With all of this support, we must continue to fulfill the duty we have to our land and keep promoting the general welfare and protecting our unalienable rights. Thank you.
Good job. All right, Mariah, you have your first judge question, and you have a minute to answer each one of these questions, so go.
You listed out a number of organizations that are already have their eye on this and are trying to take action, but said nothing is really moving. How do you think about involving some of those organizations, or are there other organizations that need to be brought to the table?
Thank you for your question. I think that part of it is bringing more awareness to the issue to other larger organizations, since these businesses and companies, they're not very well known, and if we can start creating new regulations in larger companies, then the issue will have more chances of being resolved.
Second judge.
What civic organizations or civic values would you bring into the solution of this problem you described?
Thank you for your question. I think that it's really important to recognize that safe drinking water is an unalienable right, that everyone should be able to receive water, and it's a need to survive. So it's really important that we look at those core values and really decide what is important to our lives and what can we as a nation do to solve those issues.
And here's your final question.
Hi, what role could you see businesses playing in your solution, or how would like a private-public partnership come into play?
I think in both public and private businesses, companies can begin implementing regulations for like greener use of their equipment and training their workers to recognize HABs in areas near bodies of water, and also seeing what type of pollution they emit if they are by a source of water.
Thank you, Mariah. You might notice a pattern here. We've had 3 young ladies, and our next person, oh, it's another young lady from Texas, Tashvi. Come on up here, Tashvi. You have 3 minutes. Go.
Hi, my name is Tashvi Wathwa. I'm 12 years old, and I'm in 7th grade at STEM Academy under Alvin ISD. I live in the growing city of Pearland, the 3rd largest city in the greater Houston area. My city has a population of more than 130,000 people and more than 88,000 cars. Nearby, we have downtown Houston, where metros are commonly used to get around. But my city has absolutely no public transportation. Today, I'm presenting to you my idea of incorporating public transportation into my community, which aligns with the fundamentals presented in our Constitution, in particular, promoting general welfare. Some of the benefits of public transportation are: 1, it can help reduce the number of cars flooding our streets, hence reducing traffic jams, delays, and road accidents. 2, cars are not very sustainable. An average car seats 5 and releases 371 grams of pollution per mile, while an average bus seats around 50 and releases 209 grams of pollution per mile. 3, taking a bus is a healthier option for our citizens. You have to walk to and fro from the nearest bus stop. 4, adding buses is a cost-effective means of transportation. In 2022, the per mile cost of a car was 28 cents, compared to 12 cents for a bus. 5, buses can also generate revenue and cover their upfront costs in only a few years. We can have a nominal bus fare. Plus, digital screens can be installed inside the buses that could be used for showing routes and advertisements from local businesses for a small fee. This goes to show that buses can be extremely profitable when implemented correctly, making them a good addition to my city. For the first phase, I suggest targeting the young adults of 16 through 24. You must be asking why. Firstly, the majority in this age group are students in high schools or graduate and undergraduate programs. They don't usually make long-distance commutes and stay within their city. Their extracurriculars and part-time jobs are also nearby. So if buses were made an option for these young adults, they could commute without having to get a car ride from their parents, who literally turn into chauffeurs. My parents jokingly call themselves Uber drivers on the evenings and on weekends. But some may argue that this age group can legally drive by themselves.
And
Yes.
your time is up. And I think she deserves extra points for being on her tiptoes for 3 minutes. All right, this is a fancy one. I'm used to working with cheap ones. How do we get this thing down? Squeeze it, comes down. Famous last words. Hey. Is that better?
Yes,
Fantastic.
thank you.
All right, first judge question, please.
In your scenarios, as I understand it, you would take a lot of cars off of the road. So I would like to ask you, what role do you foresee getting business involved in your solution?
So that's a very good question. 1 second, please. So I want to first involve local businesses. So let me inform you of something. Do you know what market research is? Market research is when we can learn about our community. We can monitor people. That may be a bit creepy, but first, we can look at where people are going, how they're going, where they're going, and why they're going, how they're getting there. With this, we can create an efficient system of bus stops. Local businesses that will have their bus stops near these areas could easily benefit. And if we partner with them, we can also get sponsorships and in fundraisers where we inform people about
1 minute is up.
Oh.
Second judge question, please.
I'd like you to identify some nonprofit organizations or some community groups or advocacy organizations that could support or collaborate with you on your solution, and how may they make it stronger?
That's a great question. So, do you guys know what United Way is? So, United Way is an organization that helps people get to hospitals, like doctors or other patients, maybe. That's what you would say. So, patients that would want to get, and many doctors have to transfer it to our local medical center that's very far away. So, instead, if we had a bus route, we could easily get it. So, if we partner with this business, we could easily get our doctors and our patients better towards their destinations. And also, the local Chamber of Commerce, for me, it would be the Pearland Chamber of Commerce. If we partner with them, we could help also communicate with our local businesses. And that way we could help protect their rights, help protect their interests, and
Your
also
1 minute
help
is
our
up.
community.
And our third and final question.
Could you tell us a little about which levels of government and officials could be helpful in addressing your issue?
That's a very good question. So first of all, I would like to partner with my mayor. In my case, Kevin Cole. The mayor can help mobilize our resources in our community. Next, I would like to partner with my city council, who can advocate for our initiatives and help me implement my solution over time. My city also has funding that we can implement over time. In fact, looking at our budget, which is transparent thanks to our constitution, we can find that they already have some funds set aside, and we can help allocate these funds to implement our bus stops and our buses, right? We need the buses. So, and our planning department can give us insights on the action and the infrastructure that we would need to implement in our community for our buses to succeed. And our community development office could tell us what we need to address and what we need to address with our public transportation.
Your time is up. A round of applause for Tashvi. Thank you so much. Good job. Next person coming to the stage is from a state that I just left, Alaska. It is gorgeous. If you have a chance to go, you should. Welcome, Emily. Want me to bring that down for? Oh, good. Nice job.
Imagine for a moment that you're in a car accident. Your jaw is shattered and several teeth are knocked out. Naturally, you would expect your medical insurance to cover your treatments. But now imagine another scenario. Your child is born with a rare genetic condition and is missing most of their adult teeth. You take them to the dentist only to be told that your medical provider will not pay for their treatments. It's a stark reality for many families. According to the CDC, 1 in 33 babies born in the US is born with a rare congenital anomaly. These people can expect to get 3 to 5 major surgeries in their lives regarding their condition, which insurance won't pay for. This includes me. I live with a congenital anomaly known as hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, which affects my hair, my skin, and my teeth. Since I am missing numerous adult and baby teeth, I am facing extensive dental work ahead, potentially costing my family over $100,000. So, what's the solution? It's the Ensuring Lasting Smiles Act, or the ELSA bill. It would amend federal law, mandating that medical insurance companies would pay for congenital anomaly treatments. In 2022, Alaska was the first state to have all 3 members of our congressional delegation co-sponsor ELSA. And in 2022, ELSA passed in the House of Representatives with a bipartisan supermajority. In the Senate, it did not pass, but it will soon be reintroduced. Alaska has a small population, so it's easier to get to know our local members of Congress and to share our concerns with them. And because we advocated, Congress took action. We used our First Amendment rights to petition the government and to change many lives for the better. The medical insurance people earn as a benefit of their jobs should cover all necessary medical procedures that they would need to become productive members of our society. Otherwise, you may ask yourself, what's the point? Gandhi said to be the change you wish to see in the world. When I do my part in advocating for the things I believe in, I feel like I am helping to change my country and the world, one step at a time.
Thank you. All right, first judge question, please.
Since you've gone down this path already, I was hoping you could share with us how did you involve different levels and specific officials in government to assist you in addressing this issue?
Thank you for the question. Well, the reason why I have decided to advocate on a federal level is because of the Interstate Commerce Clause in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. The Interstate Commerce Clause gives Congress the authority to preside over medical insurance companies, since some may cross state lines. Since ELSA is about requiring insurance companies to provide coverage for those with congenital anomalies, I have chosen to speak with my senators and representatives, as well as those from other states, about this issue.
Second judge question, please.
Could you tell us about some nonprofit organizations, community groups, or advocacy organizations that might help you get your bill passed and across the finish line?
I'm currently working with the National Foundation for Ectodermal Dysplasias, as well as the Rare Disease Legislative Advocacy Group. Over 40 organizations support the Ensuring Lasting Smiles Act, such as the American Academy of Dermatology and the American Dental Association. Some others are the Every Life Foundation and the March of Dimes. Thank you.
And your third and final judge question.
Yes. You mentioned your engagement with government at the state and local level. How did you get that effort underway? What were some of the things that you were involved in that led you to know that that would be a good approach to bringing about the kind of success you hope to achieve?
Well, there are many children and adults in the U.S. with these congenital anomalies, and they have been advocating for a change in this medical loophole for decades before I was even born. So my action in this movement has been mainly because of the actions of people who have stood up before me. And I've partnered and worked with organizations such as the National Foundation for Ectodermal Dysplasias, and I've been to Washington, D.C. and Capitol Hill many times, and I've spoken to these senators, representatives.
And your 1 minute is up. Thank you so much. Great job. Wow. I'm just blown away by these kids. They're so wise. We've had 5 ladies. Here's the first gentleman from Arkansas, Joa. Come on up here, Joa.
Hi, my name is Joa Smith. I'm from Ozark, Arkansas. All across America, almost every single city has a downtown, many of which are run down, abandoned, and a mere ghost of their former glory. I would even bet that many of you here have seen this firsthand. The buildings, deteriorating and empty, the streets and sidewalks, grimy and dirty, and the wasted potential for what were once social and commercial hubs. The need for revitalization of these downtowns and Main Street areas is evident. Even in our nation's capital, this is a key issue, as indicated when I reached out to Mayor Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C. for a statement on the matter. She stated that, with the future of downtown, we have a unique opportunity and responsibility to be bold, creative, and collaborative. This is what my proposed nonprofit organization, Revitalizing America's Downtowns, or RAD for short, would combat and fix. RAD would be a grassroots movement based on the civic virtue of volunteerism. At first, our organization's efforts would especially focus on small projects like cleaning buildings and streets and improving landscaping to increase curb appeal. To get volunteers, the organization would especially focus on recruiting American youth who often need or seek community service hours. RAD would be a safe and productive program for kids to use their individual rights to improve their own communities. My plan for RAD would be to expand it through the local communities of my home state of Arkansas. Once the organization gained traction, it could extend its reach throughout the country, spreading its initiative of improving downtowns. RAD would carry out this initiative in many ways, like to improve downtowns. We could coordinate with local civic organizations, such as local chambers of commerce, local governments, service organizations like Rotary and Kiwanis, and already existing Main Street programs. Revitalizing downtowns in America would have substantial social and economic benefits. In my home state alone, a recent study by Rutgers University stated that historic building reinvestment adds $75 million of private investment to Arkansas's economy each year and provides 1,500 jobs to working Arkansans. RAD would increase this positive effect on the economy through its efforts in these communities. RAD would also spread the social effect of having clean, appealing areas and businesses for people to visit and use as both tourists and local residents in their everyday lives. My greatest vision for RAD would be it becoming an organization that can change American lives for the better. It would help people improve their own communities and have something to be proud of in their towns.
Okay, Joa, you have 3 questions from 3 different judges, a minute each to answer. Let's start with our first judge.
Thank you for that, Joa. If you were granted $5,000 to get RAD started, tell us about how you would implement your solution and allocate the funds.
If I were granted $5,000, I would spread it to many places, such as organizational costs, safety gear, advertising to get our message out, supplies and project costs that would likely be small at first but would begin to increase, and incidentals just to save some in case we had problems or something we had to pay for.
Second judge question, please.
Thanks so much, Joa. You mentioned, speaking to the mayor of DC, what other government officials do you need to have involved to pull this off?
I would need to reach out to many government officials to get support for it. I would specifically target very local governments to get support in their own cities because they know their cities better than anyone else and can help us develop policies that can help improve their cities. I'd also like to focus on state-level government to help influence legislation that might pass to help revitalize these suffering downtowns.
And your third and final judge question.
How would you get businesses involved in this, given your description of these abandoned main streets and so on? How can you bring businesses in there?
I would hope to bring businesses in by increasing business participation and growth in these communities. I'd hope to seek donations, host events in their areas, develop local RAD initiatives with their help to help their own communities, and partner with them on any other things. I think that revitalizing downtowns for them would be mutually beneficial because the state of their communities influences their success just as it influences individuals.
Thank you, sir. Please welcome from the state of Arizona, Aiden.
Did you know that 100% of primary elections are decided by about 20% of voters? A factor limiting primary participation is closed primaries. And how we can fix this is advocating for open primaries at the state level. And closed primaries discourage primary participation, especially among independents. And that's a big problem because in the US, about 40% of registered voters are registered independent or unaffiliated. And specifically in Arizona, many independents don't vote in primaries because they must go actively affiliate with a specific political party. Furthermore, a study by Unite America said that many moderate candidates don't run for office because they know they can't win one of the nominations from the 2 major political parties. And this really reduces the representativeness of our elections because many people aren't voting in our primaries and many moderate candidates aren't running. The solution is open primaries. Open primaries will place every primary candidate on one ballot, and the state will decide how many candidates will advance. For example, many states like California, Alaska, Louisiana, and Nebraska, and Washington all have forms of open primaries. And Alaska has top 4 open primaries, California has top 2, so it's up to the states to decide. The Bipartisan Policy Center recommends open primaries and said that switching to open primaries can boost primary turnout by up to 15%. And all candidates would be on the same primary ballot, incentivizing candidates to campaign across the aisle. This represents the civic virtue of moderation because more moderate candidates will be incentivized to run, and also the civic principle of popular sovereignty because the eventual general election candidates will be more representative of the people. There's a lot of opposition to open primaries, especially from the two major political parties, and they argue that they should be able to decide who from their political party advances to the general election. And you still will be able to do this, except everyone will be doing it on one general election ballot. There's also been judicial opposition to open primaries, but they have all found that the states still have the right to decide their primary election rules. As well, a study by the Public Policy Institute of California showed that open primaries will increase voter turnout without sacrificing key party ideals. In the end, open primaries will incentivize primary participation without sacrificing party ideals, thus making our elections more representative of the people, thus making our elections more representative of the people. Thank you.
Right on the money. 3 minutes. First of 3 questions coming your way right now, Aiden.
Thank you, Aiden. You mentioned a number of nonprofit organizations that you've worked with, but is there a role for business to play as well? I mean, we are participating in this event sponsored by the Chamber, so could you say a little bit about how the private sector might be involved in this kind of effort?
I think so. To pass open primaries, it'll be at the state level. So I think many, specifically state chambers, can endorse efforts at open primaries, and the businesses can help donate to state nonprofits and can help try to pass open primaries.
Second question, please.
Yes, do you think there's a role for the government in the solution to the problem that you described? And if so, at what level of government should act on this?
Well, it'll have to be at the state level. So the state level, it'll have to be passed either by the state legislature or, for example, in Arizona, it'll have to be a change in the Arizona's constitution. So it'll have to eventually either be through a legislative referral to the Constitution or a citizen's referral to the Constitution, and those would both be on the ballot. So in Arizona, there was just the Make Elections Fair Act, which unfortunately failed 40% to 60%, but that was a citizen referral to the ballot to change the Arizona Constitution to have open primaries.
And here's your final question from our next judge.
If you are granted $5,000, how would you allocate the funds to help implement your solution?
I would focus on educational campaigns. So I would focus on educating voters of the benefits of open primaries, because I think one of the reasons the Make Elections Fair Act failed to pass in Arizona was because it was confusing for many voters to understand. So I think educating voters on different types of primaries, different types of voting, and the huge benefits that open primaries would have.
Thank you very much, sir. Coming down to our final 3 in this round from Iowa, let's welcome Michael.
%15.8%. 15.8% was the voter turnout for a 2020 Board of Supervisors county election. This is a problem. This is a problem that threatens American democracy itself. My essay discusses the 2 topics of over and under involvement in politics and in civic life. These issues aren't just limited to my small community, but I think are problems for all of American democracy. Participation and involvement in politics and in civic life is very important to any democracy, and ours is no exception. I've observed that citizens are increasingly and intentionally avoiding politics due to the drama aspect of it. But politics isn't supposed to be about drama. It's supposed to be a tool. If people don't participate and engage in their civic life and in politics, then the concept of democracy doesn't work. According to my county's official elections website, Only 15.8% of eligible voters in the county voted in a county Board of Supervisors election back in 2020. That is 9,000 out of 57,000 potential voters. It is evident that underinvolvement is a problem in our democracy. To put short, no participation, no democracy. Participation in politics is good if it is used in a healthy way. Over-involvement in politics is when people no longer use politics as a tool to cooperate and solve our country's problems. Rather, they use it as entertainment, treating democracy like a game to be won. This causes problems such as tribalism and division. In a bipartisan democracy such as our own, tribalism tends to be much more prominent than in other democracies. Over-involvement in tribalism is very harmful to democracy. It causes division and it completely disregards the true meaning of politics, a tool to help us solve our country's problems. If tribalism makes politics meaningless and unproductive. One way of solving these problems is through the way people form their opinions, the media. I've already put my essay into effect by writing newspaper articles for the local paper advocating vote and exercising civility. I've spoken on a public service announcement on a regional radio station about the vote and exercising your civic duties, and I did the same on different social media platforms. I have taken the opportunity of the recent presidential election to encourage others to vote, exercise civil discourse, and trust the election process. In conclusion, my essay presents two issues of over and under participation. We, the people, need to exercise the civil discourse and other civic virtues. We need to stay involved in our government and exercise our right to vote. With perseverance and determination, we can create a more perfect union. Thank you.
Here comes your first judge question, and you have a minute to respond.
Michael, thanks so much for telling us all of the different ways you've tried to move the needle on this issue. Can you talk a little bit about how you might involve some other kinds of organizations, nonprofits, community groups, and similar?
Great question. I have thought about this issue a lot, actually. And I would just contact different media organizations and ask them if they would like me to speak on them and talk about this important issue. I have organizations such as Vox, VOX, and Ground News, which are both organizations that try to explain the news and politics in a nonpartisan way and a non-biased way. So I think that would help me to spread the word about being respectful and humble to others while also participating.
Question number 2.
How might different levels of government or different specific government officials help support your solution?
Great question. So different levels of government and different officials could help by demonstrating, talking and speaking with other politicians respectfully and kindly, and demonstrating civil discourse and not just arguing blankly and just saying nothing without listening to the other person. And I think they could also help encourage their voters to tell others to vote and get involved, and not only vote for them, but vote for anybody, and just stay involved in our politics and democracy.
And your third and final question, sir.
Is there a way for businesses to get involved in what you're working on?
Yes, definitely. It's the media business and news media organizations overall, different newspapers, podcasts, news channels could help, like put commercials, put ads, and just advocate for voting and advocate for participation and doing it respectfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. From a state down the road a bit, from Virginia, welcome Zoe.
All right, so can you picture this for me? You're driving every day to school or to work, and it seems like new developments, new houses are destroying forests and popping up every single day. Yet there are over 200 unhoused in my community. That's what I asked myself when I saw this driving to school, driving to practice. So I decided to do some research, and with this research, I found that the amount of homelessness my community stems from the lack of affordable housing and a history of racial inequity. I suggest promoting working with organizations and education to let my entire community know what is going on, what happened in our history, and what we can do to keep moving forward. This aligns John Locke's principles of life, liberty, and property. James Madison also agreed in his essay called On Property that housing is a right each man should have. Although housing is not a fundamental right written in our Constitution, it is something that every human deserves. Unfortunately, in 1964, a prosperous black neighborhood in my community called Vinegar Hill was destroyed. And throughout my community's history, we have separated and harmed black neighborhoods with zoning ordinances and code that makes it so we are selling homes to different black families and not bringing that community together. And the Charlottesville Low Income Committee even says that if we cannot adapt and move on from that past, we will continue to follow it. That is why I think bringing up civic virtues of humility, justice, and equity, we can come together and bring up justice for our community. We can come together and see our neighbors and feel for them that we need to help them. And the way that we can do this is I will partner with organizations like Impact or Livable Seaville, and they are advocating for affordable housing and that change. One incredible thing that Impact did was get a passionate group of people in my community together, and they had the Board of Supervisors pass an affordable housing trust fund. So what I want to do is get my community together. I want them to be in workshops, interactive events, and learn about these organizations that are doing amazing things. And then we can use that to make my community strong again. Thank you.
All right. Here comes your first question from our judge.
What role do you think that the business community ought to or could play in this dichotomy that you've described between growth and homelessness and low-income housing?
Well, the business community is just a big part of the community in general. So specifically schools and businesses that are advocating for schools and that in general are donating. So I would say getting students together. There's a club at my school called Habitat for Humanity, and the students are engaged with Habitat for Humanity, and they're building houses for people. So I think businesses can advocate for all of these organizations and in turn have people going to their businesses as well.
And here's your third and final question. Or is it a second? Second? Okay. I wasn't good in math.
Oh, right. Could you tell us a little more about the advocacy and nonprofit organizations that could center around your solution and how that might help and contribute to your proposal?
Yes, so my plan would be to form a coalition of all of the organizations in my community, such as Habitat for Humanity, Seaville Plans Together, or Livable Seaville. And once all of these organizations are together, they can pool their resources and pool all of their information and then spread it across to my community. And the way that we can spread it to my community is by having sort of club fairs, but it's organizations. So in public schools or in libraries, they can come learn what these organizations do and how they can help those organizations to then reduce homelessness and grow affordable housing.
And this is your last question, Zoe.
Zoe, clearly you've selected a very difficult and thorny issue here. If you were to sort of state the optimum success of your effort, and speaking to the best of your community, how would you describe that?
I think that the impact we need is for my community to feel like they love each other again, to feel like they are safe here and that they will always have their homes and they're not in fear of losing them. And so I think consent of the governed is a big part of that, by having town meetings where people can come and voice their concerns of affordable housing maybe hurting the climate or hurting our infrastructure and schools. If we can have people dropping their concerns and talking with each other, we can come up with a collective solution the entire community will endorse.
Thank you so much, Zoe. And our final student in this round from New Mexico, please welcome Keith.
Do you know that enjoying a delicious cup of coffee could become an expensive luxury in the future? Research has shown that climate change is causing coffee-producing regions to disappear, leading to a gradual decline in coffee production. It is estimated that within 20 years, coffee will be in short supply. Climate change is a critical issue exacerbated by human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels. The world is now warming faster than any point in recorded history. Climate change is causing more extreme heat, droughts, and floods, leading to decreased agricultural yields and the disruption of food systems. Therefore, we must approach the food problems affecting human survival caused by climate change. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, proposed in 2013, explained that for food to be adequately supplied, agriculture needs to shift from current industrial farming methods and worldwide food systems to organic, small-scale, local food systems with little to no transportation. That is why I propose an organic gardening initiative involving sustainable agricultural methods. By encouraging the production and consumption of locally produced agricultural products, we can enhance neighborhood interaction and communication, as well as reduce the energy consumed in industrially produced farming methods, transportation, and storage. This can help mitigate the ongoing deterioration brought on by climate change and the associated food problems. In order to achieve this, we need to engage people of all ages. The first step to transforming garden operations by incorporating sustainable, eco-friendly practices is through species selection, planting methods, and garden management. By expanding from home gardens to community gardens, we can enhance community interaction and communication. When a community shares the same consensus and works towards the same goal, the desired outcomes can be maximized. Although my idea is only a small portion of the many changes needed to mitigate climate change, it can spark a positive cycle in terms of environmental protection and community interaction. Although there are many things that can happen when people decrease their reliance on industrially produced agricultural products, even the smallest, most insignificant changes can help contribute to mitigating climate change and improving our living environment. Thank you.
Okay, Keith, first question.
Keith, you took a big, complex global issue and targeted it on a local solution. So how would you work with local organizations, nonprofits, and sort of community members in order to implement your solution?
Other organizations that may be involved include experts in eco-friendly practices to educate the public on organic gardening techniques. I once saw a demonstration on how to use cardboard and wire to collect leaves and create a composting container, forming nutrient-rich organic soil with a thriving ecosystem. Next, I hope individuals with this expertise in these fields can help by teaching the community. Second, agriculture and pest control experts to provide solutions for planting issues. Growing plants can inevitably face pest issues. If experts in agriculture and pest control can provide solutions without the use of harmful pesticides, it will make a large impact.
Question number 2.
Yes, thank you, Keith. Let me just ask, I don't think I heard anything in this regard, but is there a possible role for technology to play with this kind of effort as well?
Well, technology is not really needed, but there are many ways, such as working with the government. The government can participate in the following: massive leaf collection. The Public Works Department can collect leaves that would otherwise be burned or buried and turn them into compost for growing plants. Second, they can provide arable land. The Department of Agriculture can offer land for lease to citizens interested in growing crops but have limited space at home. Third, regular farmers markets. By collaborating with the Community Development Department to regularly host farmers markets, we can help residents sell their surplus homegrown produce and encourage them to grow more.
And here's the final question of this round.
Thanks so much, Keith. If you were granted $5,000, what would the first thing be that you would spend that money on?
To promote and encourage the public to participate in my organic gardening initiative, I plan to allocate $5,000 into purchasing vegetable seedlings and seeds, earthworms, and mulch from local small farmers and nurseries. This is because plants cultivated locally are more likely to thrive, increasing the success rate for those growing them and the healthiness of the plants. And second, once they are grown, the plants can be sold to local small businesses who can increase their revenue through exchanges and being a distribution point for the government, such as through these kits involving the supplies. This highlights the mutual benefits rather than creating competition or reducing the income of the businesses.
Thank you, Keith. I don't know how you guys feel, but if you're nervous about our country after hearing these 10 kids, I have no fears at all. These guys are unbelievable, and I think we got to give them all a round of applause. As the judges make their final decisions and add up the scores, let's take a brief break, come back in 10 minutes. We will then announce the top 5 students moving on to round 4, the final challenge. So we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Well, we are ready for the finals here. I have been in this lovely business for 50 years, and working on a show like this is very difficult. What we have done is we've taken a bunch of people who have quite honestly never done a show like this, and game shows are some of the most difficult things to put together, and they did a magnificent job from top to bottom. Give them a round of applause. Very impressed. Okay, welcome back to round 4 of the final challenge. Let's hear it for our top 5 finalists. I'm going to announce them one at a time, and go crazy with your applause if you'd like. Our first finalist from Virginia, Zoe. Our second finalist from Iowa, Michael. Our third finalist from New Mexico, Keith. Our fourth finalist from Alaska, Emily. And from Arizona, Aiden. Okay, final five, it is time for your last challenge. In this round, our finalists will be tested like never before. They will have to race against the clock and buzz in to answer questions. It's all about quick thinking and even quicker reflexes, so be ready to act very fast. Here is how the challenge works. There are 5 categories with 3 questions each. A point value has been assigned based on difficulty. 1 point for an easy question, 2 for a medium-hard question, and 3 for the very tough ones. Here are the categories: community and the citizen philosophy and forms of government. This category tests your knowledge of government, philosophy, and how Enlightenment ideas shape the creation of the United States Constitution. The next category is the American experience, history. This focuses on key moments in American history that have shaped the nation's identity and values. Next, the American government structure and design. This is how the U.S. government is organized based on the principle of self-government. Next category is the operations of government, powers and function. This will test you on how the government operates and what it's responsible for as outlined in the Constitution. And the last category is the court. You will be asked landmark Supreme Court decisions and their impact on American law and society. Listen closely to the rules. We will begin with category 1. I will read each question aloud, starting with the easiest, which is worth 1 point, followed by a question worth 2, and finally a 3-point question. Finalists, you must wait for me to finish reading the question before you can buzz in. Buzzers will be locked until I have fully read the question aloud. As soon as I'm done, the buzzers will light up to indicate that you are unlocked. We have 20 seconds to buzz in and respond. If nobody buzzes in after 15 seconds, we will move on to the next question. No points will be awarded. Keep in mind, just like me after watching a rom-com, these buzzers are sensitive. So if you're the first to buzz in, you'll have 15 seconds to answer. If you're too slow to respond, the question will be opened back up to the other finalists, and they will have 10 seconds to buzz in. If you answer incorrectly, you cannot buzz in again for that question. Points will not be deducted for incorrect answers. If no one answers the questions correctly, we will move on to the next question with no points awarded. So keep in mind, these are short responses, not yes and no questions. If contestants provide an answer that isn't listed, we will immediately stop gameplay and then consult with our experts. Everybody understand the rules? In this scholar hot seat is the very distinguished Dr. Dorothea Wolfson, Director and Senior Lecturer of the Government Program at Johns Hopkins University. We're thrilled to have her here with us today, and she will have the final say. Round of applause. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's get started with our fourth and final round. Category 1, community and the citizen, philosophy and forms of government. Good luck. Which Enlightenment philosopher's ideas about separation of powers in government influenced the founders as they developed the Constitution? And that would be Zoe. That is correct. Montesquieu is correct. Second question. What phrase from the preamble of the Constitution demonstrates the government is rooted in popular sovereignty and a community of individuals joining together for their common welfare? And am I correct in assuming it's Zoe again? Zoe, your answer.
We the people.
You are correct again. We the people. The Articles of Confederation established a decentralized system of government with limited national authority. What specific weakness in the Articles did Shays' Rebellion expose? Emily.
No executive branch?
I'm sorry?
No executive branch?
Judges. That is incorrect. Anybody else can jump in? They're all locked out? Okay, who got in? Emily did get it right now, they're saying. Okay, Emily, you got a point. Congratulations. You did get it right. All right. Zoe, you have 3. Emily, you've got 3. Category 2, the American experience. What 1689 British document laid a foundation for the 1791 Bill of Rights? That would be Keith.
The English Bill of Rights.
English Bill of Rights? That is correct. Question number 2. What was the fundamental complaint that the American colonists had with the Stamp Act? That would be you, Emily.
Taxation without representation.
Is correct. Currently, Emily has the lead with 5, Zoe with 3, Keith with 1. Here's the third question in category 2. Which piece of legislation drafted by Thomas Jefferson in 1777 and enacted in 1786 declared the freedom of religious practice, prohibited the government of Virginia from imposing religious beliefs on its citizens, and later influenced the drafting of the First Amendment? That would be Zoe.
The Virginia Religious Bill of Rights.
Will we accept that? Incorrect. Emily, you have a choice.
The Toleration Act.
That is incorrect. We're over to Keith.
The Declaration of Independence.
That is incorrect. Michael.
The Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom.
You got it.
Good job.
Things are tightening up. First place, Emily with 5, Michael and Zoe 3, Keith with 1. Aiden, we got to jump in here. Category 3, the American government. Which clause found in the Bill of Rights protects citizens from the government favoring one religion over another, forcing people to practice or follow religious practices, and creating an official religion? Keith.
The Establishment Clause.
That is correct. Another point for Keith. In Federalist number 51, James Madison defended which constitutional system as a way of preventing branches from abusing the powers given to them and holding one another accountable? Aiden.
Checks and balances.
You got it. Checks and balances. Nice job. Take a look at this, folks. Aiden and Keith with 2, Michael and Zoe 3, Emily still with 5. We are into our final question in category 3. Frederick Douglass wrote the following in response to what Supreme Court case? I have a quarrel with those who fling the Supreme Court of this land between the slave and freedom. The Constitution says we the people, not we the white people. Emily.
Plessy versus Ferguson.
That is incorrect. Keith.
The Life of Frederick Douglass.
That is incorrect. Michael.
The Dred Scott case.
You got it. Dred Scott. With that correct answer, Michael takes the lead with 6. Category 4, the operations of government. The 23rd Amendment provided electoral college votes for Washington, D.C., not to exceed the number of votes of the smallest state. How many votes in the Electoral College does Washington, D.C. have? Aiden.
3.
You got it. 3 is correct. You have another point. Which original executive department, now called the Defense Department, most commonly assists the president in their capacity as commander-in-chief? That would be Emily.
Department of War?
That is correct. War Department or Secretary of War, you got it. 7 for Emily, 6 for Michael, 3 and 3 for Aiden and Zoe, Keith with 2. Final question in category 4. In November of 1974, the House voted 371 to 31 and the Senate 65 to 27 to pass this amended act, which meant to secure a more informed citizenry. What was the name of this law, and which president initially vetoed that law? Michael.
The 26th Amendment?
That is incorrect. Keith.
The president was Nixon, and this was the Environmental Protection Act.
That is incorrect.
What?
Anybody can jump in. Nobody knows. Time is up. The answer, the Freedom of Information Act, and the president was President Ford. All right, folks, we are into our final category. 3 questions remain. Emily with 7, Michael with 6, Aiden 3, Zoe 3, and Keith with 2. Good luck. Which Supreme Court case established the principle of judicial review? Okay, it says 2 people buzzed in. What do you folks want to do? I'm just the host. I don't have to make these decisions. Michael jumped in first. Do you have the answer?
Marbury v. Madison?
That is correct. Marbury versus Madison. Nice job. Emily 7, Michael 7. Here's your second question. The Supreme Court's ruling in Miranda versus Arizona 1966 established that state and local law enforcement officers must warn an individual of their constitutional rights because of which part of the Constitution? That would be Michael.
The 5th and 6th Amendments.
Open it up there. Keith.
The Fifth Amendment.
That is correct, the Fifth Amendment. Nice job. Take a look at these scores. 7 for Michael, 7 for Emily, 4 for Keith, 3 for Zoe, 3 for Aiden. This is our final question. The Magna Carta states, no free man shall be seized or imprisoned or stripped of his rights or possessions, except by the lawful judgment of his equals or by the law of the land. What legal process protected in the 5th and 14th Amendments is this clause often said to describe? And it goes to Aiden. Aiden.
Due process.
Due process is correct.
Wait.
Okay, Aiden should get the points. And they gave them to Emily, and I'm not sure why they did, because I thought you said Aiden buzzed in first. Okay, so here's the final. 7 for Michael, 7 for Emily, 6 for Aiden, 3 for Zoe, and 4 for Keith. And here's the question. Do we have a tie-breaking question? Because we are at a tie with both Emily and Michael. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, this has been very exciting and very close and catching up from behind and things like that, but I'm sorry? Yes?
It said that I buzzed in for that last question.
I'm just following what they said up there, and we can have that conversation. If we can talk to our judges, because they told me Aiden jumped in, but Emily feels that she did, so we will wait to hear what the judges have to say. You're telling me Aiden buzzed too soon? Okay, so it did go to Emily? Did Aiden give the answer? Aiden did give the answer. Okay, so we still need a tiebreaker because Emily and Michael are tied. Okay, so here's what they're telling us. Because it's a cumulative score, that this could end in a tie. So we have Michael with 7, Emily with 7, Keith with 4, Zoe and Aiden with 3. We're going to total all the numbers now from all the categories, and when we come back, we will announce our 3 winners. Stay tuned. Here we are. Little explanation for what just happened up on the stage. The last question, the electronics were not working properly and allowed Aiden to jump in too soon, so no points were awarded for that question, and the winner is determined by a cumulative score from all 4 rounds, and after doing that, it did not make a bit of difference in the results. And we just tabulated all the scores, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And we are absolutely minutes away from announcing the winner of the National Civics Bee. But first, we're going to find out the winner of our audience quiz. We have a special prize for the highest scoring player. So that person is, oh, look at this, Charlotte's father, Clark Ensminger, with 18 points. And if you could come up here and receive your prize. Do you have a prize? Here? Ah. This is it. And somewhere on this stage, we have a human who's going to... There you go, sir. Watch him hand it right to his wife. I know how this works. And our Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce, she's with the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce, and she was online. Elizabeth Bolden, you will get your check in the mail, as they say. So not here, but they're online.
Please welcome to the stage Hannah Scandera, President and Chief Executive Officer for the Daniels Fund.
Well, hello, and hello to everyone on live stream. This has been incredible, just incredible. I'm so excited to be here and see this bee grow from an ambitious idea that the U.S. Chamber Foundation pitched just a few years ago to the Daniels Fund to an annual competition that's already driving real impact in communities across this country. We are so proud to be the founding partner of this program and be here today at the inaugural National Championship. So, how about a round first for the Chamber Foundation? And how about another round for all of our competitors? I loved every single one of them, and I'm not going to lie, I loved their favorite historical figure, and I loved their favorite food. I feel like Michael, donuts and seafood, I was with you, man. I was with you. So I will say we are going to crown our first ever national champion in just a few minutes. But first, I've been asked to tell you just a little bit more about the why behind our support for the National Civics Bee. I've spent most of my career in education. And I believe that in addition to teaching kids reading, writing, and arithmetic, we must also focus on nurturing future leaders and responsible citizens. That's right, somebody clapped, I agree. I'm preaching to the choir here, but I really believe that it's so crucial that we instill our core civic values that empower individuals to actively participate in our democratic republic. Ultimately, it's our collective responsibility to cultivate informed and engaged citizens, demonstrating that the promise of America remains as strong as ever. This is what was on our minds when we decided to support the National Civics Bee. We agreed that to get kids excited about civics again, we would need to be pretty creative. It wouldn't just be a competition for trophies or ribbons, and it definitely could not just be about memorizing facts. This is why the Bee challenges each competitor to come up with an innovative way to advance the cause they care about in the real world. They envisioned their own power in action, power informed by the knowledge that they learned through the bee. These competitors come from urban areas, rural ones, public schools, private schools, even homeschool. Last year, one of the state champions described his win as a stepping stone to becoming a sportscaster. And another, I love this, used his prize money to buy sheep for his family farm. So we have the whole gamut here. Civics Bee is for all kids, no matter who you are or where you come from. And one thing unites all our competitors from each of the 27 states represented today. Each is a winner already. You have to be a state champion just to be here in this room. You also need some dedicated parents, teachers, and coaches to get here. I just want to say I see you out there. I know that you've made sacrifices to be here with your kiddos. The travel, the weeks of preparation, the hours of practice on Conmigo, our AI study bot, designed to be fun and interactive, which sums up the ethos of this bee. So I know you parents had some fun along the way, and I'm willing to bet you learned a lot more about civics. That is no accident. The bee is intended to be an intergenerational and interactive experience. It's why the audience is invited to join in on the fun too. You know, the bee was first launched as a pilot program in 5 cities, places ranging from Baltimore to Albuquerque to Brownsville, Texas. But it came with a dream, to spread it to all 50 states, and to do so in time for our 250th nation anniversary in 2026. And we are well on our way. So we are excited to see the chamber reach this bold goal. And together with your help, we can bring the bee to every middle schooler in this country. Check out the Chamber Foundation's website at nationalcivicsbee.org to learn more about civics bees in your area and encourage students to participate and get involved. At the Daniels Fund, we consider this one of our best investments in America's future. I will say to the governors and secretaries of education watching this, make your state a civic leader and help launch or grow this initiative in your state. Because what you just saw are the leaders of tomorrow. Teachers, CEOs, mayors, senators, maybe even a future president. That gives me a lot of hope. If this is what the next generation looks like, then our democracy is in great hands. So thank you, all of you, for coming here to celebrate with us and for making this possible. Now, I think the judges are ready to announce our winners. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Before we announce the winners, let's give some kudos to our wonderful host and creator of the National Civics Bee Champion, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Every day, they harness the power of business to create solutions for the good of America and the world. The best for the bee is yet to come. And joining us right now is Hillary.
Thank you, Mark. I'd have to say thank you to the incredible host that we've had today in Mark Summers. I'm glad that I made it through the day without any slime on me, so thank you for that. We are ecstatic with today's finalists, and even more excited to share that we've expanded the National Civics Bee to 40 states this year. And, thank you. And we're working with YouTube to bring it to millions of viewers worldwide. And by 2026, which you probably know will be America's 250th birthday, we will be showcasing this as a nationally televised competition with all 50 states participating. So be sure to keep tuning in to find out who will be America's next top citizen. Thank you.
The time has come to announce the top 3 national winners And we are very proud of everyone who's competed today. And judges, if you could join me on stage right now, I would greatly appreciate it. Judges, here they come. Round of applause for our judges. In third place, taking home a prize of $15,000 is I have no card to say. The $15,000 prize goes to Keith. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to take that check back, just like they always do. And thank you for going back to your seats as we announce our second place winner, winning a whopping $25,000. It's Michael. Congratulations. And to announce our grand prize winner, please welcome back Hannah Scandera, the CEO of Daniels Fund, right back here to our stage.
Are we ready, folks? The grand prize winner of the Daniels Fund National Civics Bee Award. We should have a little drum roll, I think. Can you make a drum roll sound? That's right. The grand prize winner of the Daniels Fund National Civics Bee Award is Emily. Okay, folks, there's just one small thing. Hold for one more second. The grand prize winner, Emily, of the Daniels Fund National Civics Bee Award also receives a $100,000 scholarship. So.
Oh, she's in tears. So cute. All of us who put this show together want to thank you for being so patient and being so participatory and enjoying the afternoon as much as we did. A spectacular day. Congratulations. I'm going to cry now when I see you do that. But we'll see you next year, and thank you so much. Drive carefully on your way home. Take care, folks.